Sound Vapors in the house. Brian Campbell right here. That's Tommy Marz, the man behind the microphone, behind the guitar. Hey, maybe behind every instrument these days. Tommy, it's a pleasure when you share your art with me, man. And we get a chance, whether it's backstage at the big boxing fights in Vegas or through the magic of the internet to talk music with you. And brother, you got me fired up here. Okay, we're talking about the EP. We're talking about Chasing the Light. It's out. It's there. The art has hit. Yeah. How you feeling right now on this?
I'm feeling good, man. I tell you what, and it's funny you say that too, because you're actually one of the people I think of, like when I'm getting close to finishing a record, I'm like, I wonder what my boy BC is going to think about this, because we go back to the Bringing Alpha days, and I feel like, I don't know, I kind of want to impress you a little bit. So I think, taking a chance and send it to you, before it comes out, because right now it's on pre-order, it's coming out September 23rd, but to send it to you, to actually get your reaction to it, it means a lot, to be honest with you.
Look, I'm blown away. When you presented it, Bringing Alpha to me, it was such a statement in terms of not just your songwriting but musically. And I know you love doing the Paul McCartney Ram early Wings era. Let's play every instrument. Let's show the world everything I got here. But obviously it doesn't take long in hearing the Chasing the Light EP and realize like this is the next step in your in your evolution of translating the art that's brewing in your mind, in your heart, and all that, and putting it out there. Tell me if I'm crazy right here, though, okay? I'm hearing now. Look, like when you get a Tommy Marz song, you know the flavor. It's gonna be a lot of different flavors, but you know it. I'm hearing some Southern California, 1970s Laurel Canyon, almost like chilling on the mountaintop, looking out at the Palm Springs, mixed in with that Tommy Marz backbone there. Am I anywhere close to the journey sonically that you went in making this?
Wow. I have to tell everybody listening that was not planned. Okay. Wow. That is crazy that you picked that up. Okay. So, I love the pop stuff. I love singer-songwriter. I love the rock stuff. Something happened on this. To give a quick background is I recorded a boatload of songs like a year and a half ago, and I got them mastered, and I was going to release, an EP, and something, I don't know, it just wasn't right. I don't know what it was. I don't know what I did. I didn't feel like it was right to come out. So I've been sitting on these songs. Well, then I got a couple YouTube series going, and there's one artist that I've kind of broken down his music. Like I haven't done this since like Alice in Chains types or Stone Temple Pilots, something like where I just kind of got into the music. And this artist is Harry Styles, and it kind of really inspired me. And I've told some of my people about that, and they're like, Harry Styles, like you're a rock guy. And like, I'm telling you, this guy's got this old soul thing going on, just like you mentioned, this 70s thing. And it really kind of took my mind back there. So for you to say that means a lot, because I'm a huge John Mayer fan. So when I listen to like Paradise Valley or Born and Raised, not the big Continuum or, Room for Squares, those other albums where he went back with Joni Mitchell and Neil Young and these kind of things, that's where the song like Summer Bummer and, Stray, these kind of songs were born out of that vibe. And so I think the other part is, which is really important to me, is the mix. Because I mix this. Now I had a producer named Electro Point in New York he is on fire, Brian. This guy, I think he's got 3 or 4 Billboard charting songs in a row that he's produced this year. Yeah, he's insanely on fire. So I called him up and was like, hey man, I know you're so busy, but can I send you something? You know what I mean? And he was like, yes, and it felt very rewarding when, he got right back to me and was like, dude, I'm into these, And the thing about it was the drums is what, I don't know, the drums and the guitar, what really I felt gave it that sound that you're referring to is I kind of did something different on the mix this time. I don't want to bore everybody with that, but I did something completely different. If you go back and listen to,
no, share the minutia. Share
okay.
It,
all right, let's go deep then. Okay, so on the Tommy Marz band stuff, when those drums, they sound like drums. They sound like every other rock drum, and I hate to say that, but they do. They sound like drums. And I have a certain way I mix drums. Something happened on this where I was mixing Stuck in the Middle with You, the first song and the first single. And when I was mixing the drums, honestly, I kind of just sat back and I was like, you know what? This sounds like every other GD thing that I've done, that I've mixed, that I've put out, and I was like, I almost walked away from it because I was like, you know what? Damn, why do I even bother? That type of thing. I was having one of those days. And then, I don't know, about a week later, I came back to it and I was like, what's bothering me is the drums. The drums sound like 71 Trips or Bringing Alpha. So I said, okay, I'm going to do something here. I have no idea if this is right or correct, but that's the beauty of music. You can do whatever the hell you want. And if it sounds good, it sounds good. So what I did was I took the drum track. So I mixed the drums the way I mixed. And then, I have the waves, I use the plugins on Audition. And I'm mixing it. And I say, I'm going to take the drum track and I'm going to run this through an SSL compressor, but I'm going to run it through this G channel compressor, which, again, it's not really something you do too much. Well, there's a couple settings. And I started messing with compression and stuff, and it made it like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And it was like, like it was like, I felt like everything was squishing out of the sides, but all of a sudden the kick was still defined, but it felt really 70s. The snare, the hi-hats, the cymbals, everything was still there, but it had this gloss that I've never had before. So I mix in a digital environment. My board is analog, but it's really digital when at the end of the day, I'm not recording on tape, I guess is what I mean. Something about these drums. So I was like, okay, it's almost there, but it's not completely there. So then I take and I said, I'm gonna run it through this E channel compressor, give it a little bit more wideness, and I'm running it through some analog, compressors, just some different stuff to give it a little bit of a warm thing. Because with analog, if you go past 0, it gets a little distorted, but it's still pleasing to your ear. So it's almost fuzzy. It's a great warmth. If you go over 0 in digital, it snaps. It's the worst sound in the world. Like it's the worst. It's like nails on a chalkboard. But this was giving me that, let's go past 0, and it's a little warm. Imagine a tube, like the back of the old TV is getting nice and orange, nice and warm. So I did that, and I said, what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a little bit, I'm talking like a mustache hair past distorted. I'm going to put a little bit of fuzz on the drum, the whole drum track, which I don't normally do. And I was like, okay, this thing is really, so it's humming. I stick it back in the track. I'm like, oh, whoa. This sounds really good. So I was like, all right, now I have to. Let me go smash some guitars. Let me smash some bass guitar. And I'm not going to do exactly the same thing because you don't want all the sound the same. You want frequencies to have their own space. So then I'm done with the instrumental part of the track, and I'm like, okay, I love this instrumental the way it is. So here I go. I'm going to cock it all up and put my voice over it because everybody knows how much I love my voice. That's why I buried it in the mix. And there's I double track everything because I don't like it. But doing these YouTube videos, I kind of did some covers on my acoustic guitar, just on Twitter, live Twitter or whatever. And I kind of got a big response of it. And I was like, you know what? I guess if I really try to concentrate and sing and use those kind of the different things in my voice that I don't normally use. Like when you harmonize, you can't really go for it because if you have one track that's going for it and the other, it just sounds really bad. But when you have that single track, you can do those. You can take those risks that I don't normally take. It's almost stupid to say, but that's how it is. So anyway, I'm laying down the vocals for Stuck in the Middle, and so I do what I feel like it's innate in me now is I record the lead track. Said, wow, I hate the way it sounds, so let me record the second track like I do. So I do. So now the music sounds good, and the same thing happened. Sounds like every other GD song that I've ever done. I hate it. So I freaking hate it. So I walk away from it, and then I come back to it. Actually, it probably was that day, to tell you the truth. It was probably a couple hours later. Like I literally went upstairs. I made a salad. I mean, I was like, I have to get out of here for a minute. So I came back down and I was like, I have to do this single track. So I pull up the video. I pulled the Steelers Wheel video, the original video. And about this time, Jerry Rafferty was out of the band now. He's no longer in the band. So Joe Egan had to pantomime the video. And going forward, he had to sing the song. So he did a great job trying to sound like Jerry. So what I started doing was, okay, so I took each frame. So I was making the faces that he was making in the video to sing the songs. And it's the word, I almost wish I would have recorded it because it was the ugliest thing you've ever seen. Like, I'm like, yeah, and I don't know, I'm like, it was the worst. But all of a sudden I started listening back. I was like, I think I'm onto something here. So I said, the other part of it, the vocal mix is different than anything I've ever heard. It's like that, it's almost like that Bob Dylan, Tom Petty thing. It's not so much like, it wasn't that bad, but it was there. So I found a frequency that I never EQ in the mix, and I started playing with it. And I was like, that's it. That's the one. Boosted it, carved out some other frequencies. It took me a day or two. And when I was finished, I literally listened to it and says, that doesn't sound like anything I've ever done. I have to go and re-record the entire EP because now I'm inspired. And that's what happened. So that's why the drums on,
That's your aha moment going through that in the studio. Because look, when I hear the full body of this, and obviously the Stuck in the Middle with You cover stands out because you nailed it. You did two things at once that are hard to do. You honored the original so well. I mean, I didn't know you had that, Jerry Rafferty wanting to sound like Dylan side to your voice, but then at the same time, specifically with the rhythm and lead guitar parts, I thought you really made that cover your own on top of it. So you put the Tommy Marz stamp on it, but just overall, the whole 6 tracks, man, it just felt different in the direction of your music. And I wonder, when you go from more of a power, more of a 90s alternative backbone type of sound, and look, full disclosure, there's no lack of backbone on these 6 tracks. There's definitely some moments there. But is that the same thing that we're hearing in the music going on inside of you as the creator and the lyricist here, of maybe a more introspective phase in your creativity?
Wow, that's a great question. Yes, I actually feel this time, it's so weird that you asked that, because I feel this is the first time I think I've ever put out anything where I wanted the lyrics and my voice to speak for themselves. I just don't do that. And I've always used metaphors, and if I'm talking about a girl in the past or something, I'm always trying to hide. I didn't really hide it on this, and when you take a song like Stray, what's weird about that one, that's actually an old song, like first band type song. And I hope if they're watching, I always hated the way that we did it. I hated it. I hated it. And
what was the name of that band? Just so we never,
the band was called Ease. So and then I went on to Go to Zero and form that and this other thing, which was, I love Go to Zero. I love that band. You talk about that 2000 rock thing. I mean, I still love it, But that song, it was about a girl. It's a typical story, the more I chase you, the further you stray. And I kept that in there. But what happened was, so everybody knows that follows me. 71 Trips is about my dad. He died, and that's what the song is about. 71. He was 71 years old when he passed. So it was. I wrote the words to that, and I thought I'd use it for that album, but it just didn't feel right. I didn't want to force it. And I think 71 Trips was a turning point for me, because I stopped forcing things to fit. If that makes sense. So I had the lyrics for it, and I had the music for Stray sitting there, but I always kind of liked the chorus, even though I wanted to kind of rearrange it and rework it, because my mind just thinks different now than it did, 10 years ago, 15 years. It just doesn't think that way. It's like, I don't want a verse, chorus, verse. And in fact, I think it's 4 songs on this EP. It doesn't have a chorus. Actually, if you listen closely, there's no chorus on either 3 or 4 songs in this. It's just weird. I didn't mean to do it. It just happened. And I probably shouldn't put it out there, because, people hate when there's not verse, chorus, verse. But for me, I just didn't want to write like that. Not anymore on this. So anyway, I know, wrap it up, Tommy. People that do watch my YouTube series, they know, man, you get me going down a path, and seriously, an hour later, I'll be like, so that's why I drank coffee this morning. Anyway, so I was kind of reworking the song, and for me, the stray became, it wasn't about, the thing that keeps straying for me wasn't a girl anymore. It was happiness. It wasn't even just about losing a parent or a sibling or something or any of that. It was that having that happiness right there, you're just about to grab it, and you feel like you're going to grab it, and you just can't. It's just out of reach. So that song, to me, it has a lot of levels, and I think if people are listening to this and they go listen to the song, listen to it now with those ears of, it's not, the more I chase you, the further you stray. It's not about a relationship. It's about happiness. It's about trying to capture that happiness. And so that whole song is about that now. So it has a completely different meaning, and it's probably, I always break these things up. I say, I know what the most marketable song is. I know what my favorite song on the album is, and I know what the best song on the album is. I always do that when I'm looking at things, and I know that Stray is the best song on the album. It's not the most marketable. It might not even be my favorite. It's the best song on the EP. To me,
it's certainly the deepest, openly, and laying it out there. And you said some things earlier about your voice, and has anyone ever really loved their voice? Maybe short of Rod Stewart. And by the way, if you didn't revisit his Jeff Beck group and Faces era of his voice, then please press pause right now. But look, Jimi Hendrix hated his voice and all that. But I wrote down a note when I was listening to this EP, specifically on the second track, Lullaby Summer intro. Tommy Marz's voice has been a part of the Army in what you do, as is songwriting, guitar playing, and all that. I feel like on this song specifically, this was the first time I heard you use your voice as a weapon, sort of unflinchingly, almost like, I'm proud of this. I want to show you a couple different things that this instrument can do. I feel like that's confirmed by some of the things you said at the beginning of this interview.
Wow. God, you pick up on so much stuff. I mean, are you sure you're a boxing, MMA, wrestling professional? Because I swear you are. I think you're more perceptive almost than anybody I talk to. Amazing. Okay, so I got to give you the backstory on that song. Okay, so that wasn't a song. That was not being included. I was not putting like a little minute and a half song. I actually had another song in its place, which I hope that comes out at some point. But you know, I was doing that Harry Styles series, and I was really deep into the record. And he has a song on there, Fine Line. He actually has a couple songs that really got to me in terms of a guitar in his voice. And I'm not saying I sound like him at all. I don't. I wish. Dude, I wish. But something clicked inside of my head, and I said, I could do a song with a guitar and a vocal. I could do it. I don't know if people will like it, but I think for the first time in my life, my career, I have enough confidence to do it, because I would always layer stuff. I'd put piano or something to give it more sound. So I had this little acoustic riff that you heard in the song, and I've been messing around with it for a couple weeks. So I decided, I'm gonna record the song, but I didn't have any words. I had an idea what I thought I would sing about, so I said I'm gonna try to freestyle this. So I told Jason, he plays drums when we're playing live, our live concerts, and he really acts as a great producer. I mean, he comes out with some great ideas and really kind of keeps me focused vocally. And he was like, you're not a rapper, you're not Jay-Z, you don't do. I'm like, I'm aware I'm not a rapper, but the thing is, I feel like I want to improv this song. I want to go on here, and I don't have any words, because when I'm recording vocals, like literally the notepad's like right in front of me, and I'm reading the words, as I'm singing. This time I had an idea. So what you hear, that main track, I dropped in some harmonies for certain words later, but that main track, that is the track I recorded off the cuff, off the top of my head. That's why the first half of it sounds different than the second half, because I lost my place. I forgot. There's a little pause, and I forgot, wait, what did I just sing? I panicked, but I didn't want to lose the momentum. So when you use like, use it for, when I'm kind of going for it at the end there, which is something I've never done, that was all kind of organic. And truthfully, the last big note that I go for there, I almost feel like it's a little off, but it was one of those things where, like, when it ended, I looked at him, I was like, please tell me that recorded safely. You know what I mean? Because, digital format, sometimes there's glitches. He's like, dude, we got it. He goes, I've never heard you sing like that before. Like, what the hell was that? And it was just kind of weird. And I actually thought the use it for the last one was a little off, but there was something organic about it. And it might be off. If you put it on an auto tune, it's probably off a little bit, but I don't know. Something sounded really special. And it was a competitive thing. I wanted that whole song, that track, to be the one take vocal that I did. And it's the first time I ever did that.
And I ask you these questions because I'm infatuated like a lot of people who appreciate different kinds of art with the journey. And there's a great quote Bruce Springsteen gave during that Broadway show he did that blew up last year, in which he was talking about the influence of Elvis Presley as a motivator in sort of saying, that's what I want to do for my career. That's what I want to do. And he said the quote is, all you needed to do was risk being your true self. That's what he learned from Elvis Presley. And I know even in my own career, there was a turning point when I realized that the skin I'm in is good enough. I don't have to try to be somebody else. I felt that each step in your musical journey, as your friend looking in on the process, has always been growth. But I feel like with this album, you're sort of figuring out that you can be even more than you were before, and it's okay to flaunt that, which kind of gets me excited about what you're going to do even after this.
Wow. Thank you. Yes, I do. I feel different. I almost think I wish this would have happened the way I feel right now, musically, lyrically. I wish this would have happened even 10 years ago. I wish I was 10 years younger, to go out and do these things. And in fact, I almost wish everything wasn't going on COVID-wise, because I got that itch. I've got that itch to play live shows, and I haven't felt this in years. Truthfully, I love playing live and stuff, but towards the end, I just got, I don't want to say sick of it. I don't know what happened. I just kind of was like, I played these songs, and I'm not really sure. And the truth be told is, the last several shows I played were really big shows, and there was a lot of people, and people were cheering, and people were excited, and that thing happens. I always walk out after. I'm always in the crowd because that's just how I roll, man. I love to thank everybody and get selfies and take pictures. Something happened where I was just kind of like, That's cool, man. If that ends, and I'm actually okay with it. Dude, I'm ready to pick up my acoustic guitar. I don't even care if it's in front of 50 people, 100 people. If I go out there and bring my acoustic guitar and you want to sit there and listen and hear me tell a story about it and you want to come watch, and I'll do it, but I'll do it on a live stream. That's fine too. That's great. And I know it reaches more, but everybody knows I'm a genuine person. Like, there's that personal interaction. It's hard to get when you're not looking in somebody's eyes physically. You know what I mean? And yeah, I don't know. I kind of got that itch, but I'm not gonna lie either. I'm ready to hit some big stages, maybe get on a tour and get a full band, maybe not even a trio. I'm talking, it's got to be a little bit bigger, for I feel like for this stuff, because I need like a keyboard player and stuff. But yeah, man, I feel like I want to go out there and play. I do feel like I found my way a little bit in terms of vocally, I'm taking risks that I've never taken before. And I feel like I can continue to do. I actually think I've been just walking around singing different than I've ever sang in my life before. And I think I can do that. And okay, here you go. So there's this George Michael song. This whole thing started with George Michael how many years ago? But the thing is, there's a song that he has called One More Try. And I would never sing that because it's way out of I cannot do it any justice. But you know what? The other day I put a capo on my guitar and I was like, I'm going to learn how to play this song. And I sang it. Now, I haven't recorded it yet or even put it out there, but I'm going to, because I got to be honest. I was singing it and I was like, it's not that I'm good. It's the thing is I've never tried to do those things. I always shied away because I'm like, I know I'm not good enough. Well, I did it. Damn it. And I was like, that didn't sound that bad. I mean, we'll see when I record it. I'm sure I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's not going out. But for right now, I was satisfied sitting on the steps, playing my acoustic guitar. I was like, I didn't care if somebody walked by. I felt like, okay, that was not bad. I don't know.
Look, we can talk about my favorite side, the lyrical side, the thought process behind it. But you're also obviously an accomplished musician, and take me to Summer Bummer, because you do a great little tease here in which the musicianship is great. Am I hearing a little Fender Rhodes piano solo there leading into the guitar?
Yes, sir. So, man, your knowledge, man, knows no bounds at all. I love it. Yes, that's exactly what I used. And, I do. I kind of get my head up my arse about certain things when I get on something. So electric piano, Fender Rhodes is, I'd put it on everything, actually. It's just I sometimes have to backtrack because I get a little crazy with it. But on this song, I was like, I'm going to do a little electric piano solo, even though I don't really know how to play. But I was like, I could fake it enough to make it sound good, And it was kind of like you've mentioned McCartney and Ram and all these things. And I've been heavily listening to those things. Yacht rock. I'm like, I did a top 24 yacht rock episode. Like, I love yacht rock.
Oh, I love it. I got me some Sirius satellite radio for the first time. Yacht rock is number one on the presets. You better
number one? Oh, dude, those songs. I mean, like, well, you know what? That's a whole other episode. But I wish I'd known, because I'd had you on that episode too. But that electric piano sound is something that's so big. And so I've become like, I've always been a Steely Dan fan, but for me, Asia has become, it's a top 10er for me all time. Like,
I just bought it on vinyl. I just bought an original printing on vinyl, and it's taking up. It might ruin my marriage because I spend a lot of time with the headphones on listening to that. But we'll do a spin-off episode on that one day.
We should do that. Talk about that, because like, okay, for me, it's like when I say like a perfect album, because it's not just instrumentation. It's not even lyrically. The mix, the production, everything. I think it's probably the most perfect album that was ever recorded.
The arrogance, and having like 3 bands of all-star session players and being like,
yes.
Nah, I don't like your bass line on that. You're out of here. Yeah.
So the whole group just moves out, and the next group comes in, and it's like, what? What? Yeah, and there's so many gems on there that people don't even know. I mean, everybody knows the hits, and they're great. I mean, they're unbelievable. I mean, like, when you think about like Peg, and you think about even hearing Michael McDonald's voice,
Peg
right?
is a perfect song. It's a
perfect song.
It's the greatest yacht rock song of all time, and it's almost not even a yacht rock song. It's basically like a jazz fusion track. I mean, it's brilliant. Yes. I love the piano intro, but I wanted to hit you with, this is probably my favorite song musically on this EP. You got that little, because there's a lot of teases. There's a little guitar opening that's some of the best little noodling you do. Where does that lick come from? I don't hear that repeated again. And question B, you tease with 2 mini guitar solos that right when I'm like, okay, I can go another minute and a half here, and then compact the song's over. You left me wanting more.
Wow. Yes. So You know how I said earlier, I said, I know what the best song is, I know what my favorite song is, and I know what the most marketable song. Summer Bummer is my favorite song. I mean, that song is, I said head up my arse. I have my head up my ass about that song. I just do, because I feel like, even when I was talking to my publicist about it, I don't even know that she was into it. She's like, okay, cool. I'm like, no, you don't understand. This song, I have to do something with this song because it's, something happened to it, and I go back to that mix and all this stuff. So guitar wise, you know what I wanted? I always wanted I wanted my John Mayer song. I wanted a song that, I put guitar solos before, and I feel like if somebody listens to a Tommy Marz band, if they listen to Alpha or 71 Trips, they know, okay, the guy can play guitar, so I can play. And I used to be, I would even say maybe a little shy about picking up my guitar in front of guitar players I thought that were too good. I no longer feel like that, and that's not a cockiness thing, by the way. It's just, I think it just comes over time. And when you jam with different caliber artists and stuff, your confidence gets up a little bit, I think. And, so I felt like this was the time that I felt this is the best I've ever been on guitar. So I wanted a John Mayer type song that I could just put in these jank, ding, and it's not even just the notes. It's the way you roll your fingers off. See, I never knew that before. Now it just happens naturally. So when you hear those solos, I'm going up in those notes. I'm not just bending the string. It's how I'm coming off of it. So there's a little action that if you listen closely, there's some fingering, I guess you could say, going on that I didn't intend to do. It's just there. It just happens now organically. So, and then question B, what was question B? Was there not more soloing? Or
I mean, that solo was going somewhere, and maybe I thought it was intentional to sort of leave that little bit of a tease in there and then hit the fade at the end.
So yeah, okay. So there's the little solo right after the 80s yacht rock Rhodes Fender Rhodes solo, but then so I did a little kind of solo there, but then the end one, I was actually gonna go crazy. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go nuts on this, and I'm going to just shred here. And I was because the track, you see how, like you mentioned, the fade out. So there's probably another minute. You're probably gonna hate this. There was another minute of music that was just music after that.
Don't wish you were here, me. I'm telling you. Come on, Pink Floyd. That could have been 15 minutes. You gave us 68 minutes of Shine On You Crazy Diamond, and then Wish You Were Here is like 2.5. Come on now.
Dude, that's so crazy. You know what's so? I gotta tell you this. We go off on so many tangents. I gotta tell you this. So I've always been a Floyd fan. I love The Wall. I am actually not on the Dark Side train like everybody else. The Wall is my record, but I'm into later, after I'll say post Roger Waters stuff. And for me, you know what I've been listening to is Momentary Lapse in Reason. It's not even Division Bell. I am so stuck on that because there's so much genius on that record. Actually, that's what's so funny here, not to get too personal, but like in the shower, that's actually what I put on because it's just got the doom, 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 doom. It's almost like, what's the song where he says, momentary lapse? That song, the beginning sounds like something out of Bloodsport. Like I picture like Van Damme kind of like in a video montage when that song starts. I love that album so much. But anyway, I know we could pick like 5 records to go through.
I think each one is his own episode. Okay.
Yes.
Look, that's coming
absolutely
soon to Sound Vapors.
Okay.
Love the guitar work on the Summer Bummer. But Chasing Light, that's sort of old school Tommy Marz. That's sort of like maybe a little Primus influence in there in jumping down my ear hole off the start there. I don't know what.
Well, okay. So you're a lyrical guy. Like you dig lyrics, right? So it was funny. I was having this conversation kind of with my team, and I was like, you know what the bummer part of all this is? So let's go back to this thing, the 4 pillars. The other thing is I know lyrically, like I love telling a good story, but I know lyrically that Chasing Light is the most complete story. It might be the most complete story I've ever told on any record that I've ever recorded, because what that song is about. So anyways, when I was talking to my team, they were like, you got to do a lyric video for that so people understand, because your cadence is very fast in that one. You almost got like this flow, almost like a Bruno Mars. Like you're doing this high voice and this quick flow. And I was like, yes, I am. So that song starts me basically getting dropped off at the airport. And you know what's funny? It's about Vegas. So I have my red shoes on, my red Pumas, and I'm getting dropped off at Vegas. I'm late for the flight because this is all true story. And I'm running through the airport, and I'm running with my red shoes on, and so I'm looking around saying, wow, the airport is just packed. And I'm like, I had to navigate through this concrete maze of concrete walls. And so anyway, she scans my ticket and says, have a nice flight. So for me, like the line of, actually, it might be my favorite line I've ever put on anything is, so I walk to my seat 1A. I bought the other one just in case because I don't need no one up in my personal space. To me, that is the most important thing because that is something I would do. I would buy the other seat and say nobody else can sit here because I just don't like people. So yes, I'm paying money. So nobody will sit next to me. Like it's literally that's total Tommy Marz. That's what I would do. So anyway, so that song I get into Vegas. I go. I'm sitting third base. You know, if anybody plays blackjack, you know where third base is. So that's my spot. I'm sitting third base. I'm playing, and Pit Boss is just eyeballing me, man, because sometimes that's just how the cards fall, you know. And I say I put the smile on the dealer's face. I slid her a black chip, and then I head to the cage. And then the part that gets lost, because many people's like, what do you say right there? And I said, she asked me if I want them big. I gave her a wink because you know I did. I'm talking about $100 bills. I don't want none of that. I don't want no Jacksons, all right? I want Benjamin Franklin's. So slide them through the cage, right? And so I get the money back. I hop on the red eye. I can barely stay awake walking on the jetway, get in my seat 1A and fly home, and had a pretty damn good night in Vegas. So that's what the song, it's not the most deep song, but I think it's the most complete story, start to finish.
Well, it was hard. It was aggressive. And here's the thing I always said about your music that I love. You wear your influences openly on your sleeve, and not in a shameless way, but what that typically does is there's a familiarity as the listener. You're like, oh, I know that. That kind of sounds like that mixed with that, mixed with that. But then once you settle into that familiarity, then the seatbelt comes on and we start going some different places here, which I love. And you had already mentioned what you love about Stray and how deep that song is. And there's so much, longing in there. And I think it's very relatable. But if you got to say, BC, what's your favorite moment on the record? It's the guitar solo in Stray. Because, bro, there's something timeless in that. I want to know what axe you used to grind that one out. And I want to know musically, who influenced you in that sauce you put together for that solo?
Oh man, thanks. Okay, so I used my Strat, and I used. Oh, you know what? Okay. Oh, that's right. So I got the Plex. I have a Plexi. I have a 72 Marshall, and it's the last year that it was hand wired. Everything's done by hand. It's the last year they did 73. I don't want to say it, but no thanks. That was all factory, right? This was the last year, so it has all the old stuff. I mean, it's probably not good for you, actually, when it gets hot, to be honest with you, whatever's burning off of it. But so I had that thing hot and cranked, and I laid the solo down on it, and it was weird because I feel like that head can do nothing wrong. Yeah, man, it was too something. So I fired up I have a Fender Reverb Deluxe, and it's a 93 Deluxe, so it's not the reissue. It's the one they put out in 93 that was like, if you want to sound like Mike McGreedy when he playing through, this is your automobile, okay? This is the one. And so I got that one nice and hot, and I didn't even use like a power brake on it. Or actually, do you know what a power brake is?
No.
Okay, so it's like what you do is you run your amp through that, so it kills your amp, but you can turn it up all the way, and it doesn't like blow out every window in the place. So it basically takes all this energy. It's almost like a dam. Is what it is. And you plug it, and then you can listen to Audible, but you get the way that tubes are supposed to sound, like on 11, the cliche thing. I didn't even do that. I did turn it up to 11, and it was like, now I have a studio build. It's all soundproof and everything, and it really does. But even that, I mean, the walls were shaking. Like, it was like, whoa. But so that solo right there, I don't know. That was, what that was? I feel like I was getting out. It sounds so weird to say it, because I think lyrically you get out your frustration. I think I got out my frustration of whatever I was feeling that time, maybe with my dad, everything else on that solo. And that wasn't a solo, because I'll admit I do piece them together. Sometimes I'll say, okay, let's take this part, or me and Jason will say, let's do this part, and then I'll learn it, and then I'll go back and I'll record the whole thing, because I like to get them in a take if I can, because I feel like it sounds more organic. That wasn't like that. You know what that was? That was me just playing, and when we got it, it was, again, that's why it's just different on this one, because normally that wouldn't happen. And I was damn proud of that solo. And actually, when it comes on now, because here's another tidbit. When a record's done, I don't really listen to it that much after. I don't know, whatever, because I think I pick out stuff, or I get really critical of it, or I say, oh, I sound like an idiot there, or I should have done this on the drums or the guitar. I haven't had that yet. I'm sure there's little things I'm going to pick out, but I've been listening to it kind of like a fan, and it just doesn't, for me, it doesn't happen that much. And I've been kind of listening to that song, and I listen to that solo and go, damn, T, like, I'm surprised that's you. I know that sounds weird, but that's how I feel.
I love it, man. Let me hit you up on this last track, last question here. Really big fan of this EP, and what it says about where you're going. Lady Magic. I like
Yeah.
the alternative vibes we're getting with the drum machine. I don't mean alternative as a 94 grunge reference. I mean just it's a different sound than the rest of the album. I think the coda to close it was sort of the perfect way to just level off and drive off into the sunset, or maybe, to take the theme of the album cover, really just jump on that plane and get far away from Vegas there. But what story are you telling?
Oh man. So a couple things there. One is I wanted to end with that because that's an 808. So I'm using an 808 in there. And I just dropped a video on Twitter where I'm actually going to do this every week until the EP comes out. I'm going to drop a 2-minute video. I'm taking each track and just saying what happened or whatever, like beyond the music, like anybody gives a shit. But I'm just saying. So the 8 people that watched it, thank you. So the thing is, it's the only song on the album that uses an 808. So this was actually supposed to be part 1. So this is called The Summer. It's Chasing Light, because Chasing Light is about being on an airplane flying west from the east. And that if you get it at the right moment, you can almost chase the sun the whole way. But chasing the sun has been around so long. But Chasing Light, I felt like I was looking at that sun. You almost could see it coming through the window, almost not the whole way, but a good majority. It was cool chasing that light. So this here is supposed to be part 1. The truth is, iTunes was giving me fits about doing it a part 1, saying, "Hey, you have to do this different." I'm like, "It's my art, man." What the hell? So the thing is, there's actually going to be a part 2, and it's going to be the Cold record, and it's going to be, it's singer-songwriter, but it's very much more beat based, and it's very dark, and it's very, I probably shouldn't even say this, but those songs are pretty much done too, but something I alluded to at the beginning of our conversation that's not on this. Okay. So it'll be part 2. So this was Chasing Light. This is a summer EP. That's why it had to come out when it's warm. The other one, it's about being cold. And I don't mean weather-wise. I'm talking about that cold feeling of something chasing you. So instead of chasing light, whatever's out there coming for you, this thing is chasing you. So I wanted to end it with an 808 because that's what's coming on the next part in 6 months or whenever, if it ever comes out. But so that's where that was.
Chinese Democracy. One day Axl will drop it. All right. It's going to sound great. Wait, did he? I don't know. I can't.
Yeah. He did. And I'll be honest, that was, they say good things come to who wait or whatever the thing is. Yeah. I didn't love it like that. And I listened to the whole thing, but not that I'm critiquing it. I'm not, because I know I'm not. I can't even carry his jock. I understand that, but
Well, his voice is done now, so I'm sure you can just fine. But Chasing the Light, The Summer, Part 1. Look, it touched me. It hit me, man. This is great work, and you're arcing. You're going higher and higher along the way. The last sort of question I had was, sometimes the best art can be made as a reaction to pain, right?
Yeah.
As sort of a response to that, it takes what 20 years to make your first album, and then they demand the second one in 6 weeks or whatever, whatever the old adage is for bands. Where are you? What does this album say about where you are in your life, in your journey?
I can be totally honest with you. I thought after 71 trips, after the cycle, I said that before, the cycle was over, and I feel like I kind of picked up a lot of fans from it that were into that sound. But I don't know. I just felt like it didn't fall off a cliff, but I felt like a year later, completely honest, I felt like this journey might be over for me. It might be over. I'm not saying I was ready for it to be over, but I didn't know if I was ready to do it again. And so, it's been, it's real. It came out in February of 18, but it really was recorded, in 17. So it's been like 3 years, and I don't know. I guess it's God, that's a great question, man. I didn't even really think of that. You know what? I would say right now, I'm feeling so much juice that I'm back. And I'm not just back. I'm about to drop this EP. I'm going to drop part 2 when it's cold. And the thing is, I don't know what it is. I feel so inspired. And I think some of it is just listening to some of these artists that I opened up my mind a little bit. Because I do get locked in a box. I really do. I head up my ass. Yeah. You give me certain albums. We mentioned Steely Dan, Alice in Chains, stuff. And I will, Facing New York, I'll get just locked in it. Me listening to this other stuff is, my mind is open wider than it's ever been. And I don't think I've been this inspired. Again, I hate to bring it up because I don't want to be a downer. But when I was lacking inspiration, and then you lose a parent, that's not good inspiration. So I don't want to mean it like that. But once I got writing, I don't think I ever felt like that. For the first time, the songs weren't meaningless. It wasn't just about some relationship or something. Not that those aren't, because they're important too. But right now, I feel zero anxiety about writing a song. In fact, I could literally pick up my guitar and probably write right now. That's how I feel. So I think I'm back, and I think I'm gonna be. I don't know, man. I feel that way. I feel like I'm at my starting point all over again. That's what I feel like. Right? I feel like I'm
just
at the
like
start right
hey,
now.
Hey, John Lennon, it's just watch out for Chapman here. Don't
Yeah,
hang out in front of the Dakotas. But great work, man. I've really enjoyed it, and can't wait for the sequel. Okay? We don't normally say that. Can't wait for the sequel.
She says, have a good flight. I'm looking through the window. There is a sliver